starting linebacker of the Philadelphia Eagles, every Monday in his weekly spot. That, of course, is Nigel Bradham. Nigel, always appreciate it. We'll get to, I know it's a little bit of a downer, but first and foremost, that's a big win yesterday under the circumstances. And, it's just it's a bittersweet win for you guys.
Yeah, it is, man. It hurts, man. Obviously, we don't want to sit back and just wait and pretty much say our season over. We got guys that been in this situation before and excel. Yeah,
we talk about it, and it's cliche, and it's an easy question to answer because I already know the answer to it. But what exactly, when you look at Carson Wentz and what he means to his team, and now the loss of Wentz, it's a devastating loss. But you have to take that mantra of the next man up.
Yeah, it hurts us. I mean, he's our leader. He led us his way the whole entire season. He's the reason why we NFC East champs. When you take a loss like that, it hurts him overall, obviously.
I suspect, just listening to Doug early this morning with the presser, again with that next man up mantra, that they have confidence in Nick Foles under center. And I was saying this during the opening monologue, and I said I'll even ask Nigel when he comes on a 1. It's a punch in the gut. You hang your head down for a moment, but then again you have to regroup. It's not like you guys are 4-7 or 3-8. You're 11-2. You just won the NFC East. You won the division. If you win the next 3, you'll most likely get home field, which means you'll get a bye. You win 1, and you're already hosting the NFC Championship. So speak to the Eagle fan base out there that needs to be talked off the ledge that the season's not lost.
Oh, it's far from over. And the ability of what we can do as a team and show what we can do is going to be great, man. Our confidence is still there. We know we're going to have to play even better defense, and we know people are going to have a tough time trying to stop our run game as well. So then we also got Nick Foles who's going to fill in there. And Nick can make plays. I feel like he's proven that throughout this league since his time in it. And like I said, he's been in these situations where he's had success and he's carried teams. He's a true leader himself. He's been a leader all year throughout training camp. As soon as he came in, day one, his leadership showed, and I think that plays a big part of us to be able to have success going forward.
And listen, a one throw he needed to make yesterday, the third down conversion when he zipped in an Aguilar, who stepped up and made a bunch of plays yesterday. He made the throw that he needed to make. We know there is listen, Nick Foles, with all due respect, we know he's not Carson Wentz. What made Carson Wentz and makes him a great quarterback, that rarity, that scrambling, ultimately, it's unfortunate he gets hurt. But that's how he plays. I think that's what endeared him to you guys, his teammates, the city, the fans, the area, the region. But as you alluded to, you do have to take that next man up mantra. Now, the beauty with this is, again, you guys aren't a 5-6 team. You're 11-2. So you're going to be able to have him under center to get some reps. And you mentioned the defense, and let's be honest, the last 2 weeks, there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. I mean, we saw the adjustments late in that game yesterday, but what was going on early with the Rams and that offense? It seemed as though they were able to control the line of scrimmage a little bit and start to get Todd Gurley going off. And once he starts running downhill, he's a very tough running back to take down.
Yeah, it really started with that first run, man, that toss when they came out and opened the game. I feel like that really just gave them momentum, and they got on our edge of the defense at that point. And we pretty much, man, we had to end up making adjustments, but we was just a little sloppy in that game. It's probably just like somebody will be out the gap, or somebody will get overreach, or somebody's not getting downhill. It was some everything, like, and he was just finding that that one seam. But we had to make some adjustments, man, and get back to what we do as a defense on the sideline. Obviously, there was a lot of plays we left out there, man, that we felt like we could have made. Myself, I felt like I dropped 2 picks that probably could have made that game a blowout and never would have even made it close. So, I mean, it's plays we left out there, and we know that as a defense. That's why we got to get better. And we're going to get back to the drawing board, watch the film on it, and make sure those things are corrected, because we know teams are going to try to attack that.
Yeah, I give you a pass and coverage on that one potential interception, but the one near the goal line, I know that's one you had to have back. That's one you would like to have back.
Both, man. I'm telling you, man. I read that. I knew that bang gate was coming. I read that.
The second one.
Yeah, the second one. I completely read that. I just knew. I knew it was coming. So, to me, those are plays, and it was in my hands. So to me, those are plays that I make, and I've made before. So I just gotta finish it and close out. Is
that something you instinctively saw, or you read Jared Goff's eyes, or that's something that play, that design, you saw something on film, or it's just instinctual?
It was really just my film study, honestly.
You know, I remember I was replaying a couple of the plays, and I went back and I started to really look at the third quarter, because they made a point of reference on the broadcast, for what it's worth, to say, you know, the Rams are a really good third quarter team. Offensively, they can score, and then they were talking about the Eagles and defensively, and how they always make those second half adjustments. And when you go to that third quarter, and I think it was right after, it was a 35-31 game. And then the Rams were up 35-31. You guys came back. You had the field goal. And then I believe it was, I think it was that next series where you get the big strip sack. Long got the big strip sack, and McLeod recovered it. And again, that was a huge defensive drive for you guys, because I think I got the sense that a little more pressure, a little more aggressiveness, you know, the Rams were able to move the ball a little bit. But talk about that drive and that defensive play by Long.
Yeah, it was perfect timing, man. Before we left that sideline, we knew it was on us to win this game. And we all said that to each other when we was going out there, that it was on us to win this game. If we was going to win it, this was going to be the drive to do it. And so we pretty much made everybody go out there with that mentality of, man, hey, the game on the line, we want to be champs. So we got to make something happen, and everybody was playing at a high level, and he was able to force a play where he was able to be unbelievable on that play, man, because he was like in the air for a little while when he stripped that ball out, and everybody was just hunting to go get it, and I believe Kendricks was the first one there.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, I think he tried to hit the tackle who was trying to dive on the ball, and he tried to knock it out, and then I was in the mix, and then next thing you know, McLeod cleaned it up. So that was two edge Rams players that made a
yeah, that's true.
Play, man, yeah, so it worked out perfect.
It's funny because you have a veteran, comes from that winning culture when he was with New England, and I said this when the Eagles signed him. You know, it reminds me of making a move in the before the postseason in baseball, right around the trade deadline. If you get that one great at bat by so and so, it's well worth the money. Well, we've seen a couple times now this year where Long has come in on third down to get some snaps, and he's had that strip sack. We saw it early on. I believe it was early on. I want to say the 49ers game, and forgive me if I'm misspoke, but I know he had a big strip sack earlier in the year, and then we saw yesterday when you guys needed a defensive play, guys stepped up and you got the defensive play.
Yeah, and I mean, make no mistake about it, Chris is a true veteran, man, and it's the reason why, you know, he went first round and he's been in the league this long and he has a ring, because his mentality. And you see his work ethic and how hard he works and how hard he prepares for this game. You can see his love and passion that he has for it.
I'm curious, and again, Nigel Bradham with his weekly spot on a Monday right here on Middays with Q. Rich Quinones here. The Eagles with a big win yesterday on the road against the Rams, 43-35. They clinched the NFC East, improved to 11-2. Although in the process, Carson Wentz out for the season with a torn ACL on his left knee. I don't know if you can, if defensively you guys pay attention to this per se, but I'm curious, when the quarterback goes down like that, and all of a sudden you see, say, Nick warming up on the sidelines, and you guys know that perhaps maybe a defensive series is coming up. Does it start to go through your mind? You start to wander a little bit, and you start to think, you know, where's Carson Wentz? He's under the tent. Oh, I'm here now from this guy. He's going in the locker room. Or is it in that moment you just have to go out there and focus on that defensive series? I know offensive guys might answer it differently, but I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, we see it as, man, we got to win this game. and especially in that situation when you lose your leader and your quarterback, man. That's how you got to feel as a defense. You have to feel that you have to close this game out and give him everything that he prepared for and he worked for, this whole week and this whole season to get him, reward him with that win, even though he's out. I think that was the mentality we all had as a defense, because that's why we were talking on the side. We lost one of our brothers. The only way we can go out, like, we already took one loss, we can't take another one. So that's how we felt about it. So we had to figure out ways to be able to know that we were going to have to close out that game, and we weren't going to leave that field without a win.
How imperative right now, even though Nick's going to be under center, but to finish out the season strong and at least try to get home field advantage. You guys get a little bit of a break yesterday with Carolina beating Minnesota. So if you stay to form and beat the Giants, the Raiders, the win your last three, and Dallas to close out the season, you get the home field advantage. It seems as though now it's more imperative than ever right now.
Right. It's very important, man. And this is our time. We feel like, that was our next goal, to get home field first, NFC East champs, and then to get home field advantage. So obviously that's in the play, and that's what we're focused on right now. We got to close out the season and do what we have to do to get that so we can have the advantage, man, and make teams come to Philly.
Again, I got the sense listening to Doug early this morning or right around noon with his presser that it's a punch in the gut, but there's a lot of football to be played, and it is that next man up mantra. And if you look at some of the injuries this year, now with Carson, with Hicks, with Sproles, with Darby early on, with Peters, Maragos, and the list goes on and on. We've talked about this before in the past, teams overcoming adversity. Well, here you have it. This is now where you have to see guys rise to the occasion and the challenge.
Right, and it's unfortunate for us. They're all are impactful and core star players. So obviously it makes it even more devastating. It's not like it's no core star guys. These are guys who are actually made this team.
Sure.
What it is, but it's also showed their leadership for the guys that are behind them, having the ability to be able to step up and play. And you see that in the team. I feel like you see that growth in the team, and I feel like you still see that their leadership is there. And it's all just us being a family, man, and just coming together and just having that energy and passion to motivate each other and inspire each other.
Listen, we've seen this before. It's guys get injured. It's a tough injury to overcome. But the way you guys were playing, let's be honest, in the last couple of weeks, you do have to clean a couple things up defensively, which we have addressed. But offensively, you guys are still averaging about $120, $130 on the ground. So, you suspect that Doug puts the offense in a good spot and you guys go out and you do what you need to do. There's no reason to think that the season is over. Again, if you're 3-8, 3-9, it's 11-2 football team. And I think a lot of people are thinking, hey, the sky's falling right away. And that's not the case. There's a lot of football still to be played before this season ends and then going into playoffs.
Right. And those last two weeks, defensively, those have been our biggest challenges. The offenses we faced all season. I would say I think those are probably the best offenses we played on all year. And those are great teams, man. You can't take that away from them. They're both obviously got great players, and we might not have been able to close out in Seattle, but we did close out this one, so that was huge for us. So
yeah,
we're gonna stay motivated, man. We're gonna keep working on defense, and we will get a lot of things corrected, obviously. But those were two great offenses we just faced.
Yeah, and it starts with the Giants on Sunday. They have their own issues, and the Raiders and the Cowboys to finish up the season. All right, Nigel, always appreciate it, my friend. Good stuff as always. Congrats on the win. Appreciate you jumping on board as you always do every week. We'll talk to you next week. Best of luck against the Giants, pal.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, you got it. Nigel Bradham in his weekly spot.